Hello and welcome to the Car Auto Reviews channel, and welcome to the 2025 Ford Expedition. And in today's video, we're going to do a proper technical review under the hood, take a look underneath it, inside and out, some things we like, some things we do not like, right after this. Let's start our technical review under the hood. And the Expedition in 2025 only has one engine option, which is the 3.5 liter EcoBoost. Let's start with the mechanical construction. So at the very top, you have plastic valve covers. Seems to be the norm in the automotive industry these days. You do have a single piece cylinder head with hydraulic lifters and roller rockers. The cool thing is here, you have regular cam caps, individual cam caps for each cam, and then the front one is a big cap that shares between the two. This does have dual overhead cam, does have dual variable valve timing on both sides, both banks. They are oil controlled, and it's typical Ford style where the oil control valve goes through the valve cover at the top. You do have two timing chains, one for each bank with internal hydraulic tensioners. The block is an aluminum block. It is a 60-degree V6. You do have individual main caps, but then there is like a big cradle at the bottom that kind of ties all of them together. The cooling system in this engine is rather simple. You have a mechanical water pump that is belt driven, not chain driven or any of that. You do have a thermostat. You do have an auxiliary electric water pump that is meant for when you have an auto start stop event. This engine is turbocharged, and twin turbocharged actually. You do have two small turbos. They are oil and coolant cooled. They do have an electronic wastegate, but this does have an air-to-air intercooler. So things are rather not very busy, and that's pretty cool. Now the fuel system in this car, you do have dual injection, so you have port and direct injection. You do have the high pressure fuel pump sitting on top of the valve cover on the driver's side. The port injectors are underneath the plenum, and then the direct injectors are underneath the intake manifold. It's a little bit busy in that valley there, but at least we have dual injection here. Now the transmission in the Expedition is a 10-speed automatic transmission. It is the 10R80 transmission. This transmission is a joint venture between Ford and GM. It's very interesting, two companies that do things together. It's a smooth shifting transmission once you get going, but engagement to drive in this particular tester did take a few seconds. It's a little bit slow engagement, and that seems to be a common concern with this transmission. Now, let's talk about things under the hood here, because usually lately the V6 twin turbo engines that are replacing V8s, they're extremely complicated, extremely busy engine bays and whatnot. Not here though. I mean, the F-150 we looked at looked pretty busy. This one, not so much. I mean, I'm looking down in this particular section right here in the driver's side. I mean, I can see the turbo very clearly. You have plenty of space to pull it out. Spark plugs are very accessible. They're a little bit, this engine is kind of pushed back in, but everything is very accessible. I really like that. And the cool thing is, you don't have two air filters. Why do you need two? It's just one air filter. It's just perfect. But then there is the sea of plasticky stuff, not high quality stuff. That's kind of typical with Ford. I mean, even down to the air filter clip. I have no problem with the clip. Love the clip. Don't need bolts for air filter. But the clip is plastic. It's very flimsy. And then a lot of the coolant components, a lot of plastics don't feel very high quality. That's something to be expected. But what I love about it is it's wide open. There's a lot of space. I mean, once you remove this air charge pipe, there's a lot of space in this engine, and that's the cool thing. It doesn't look like it doesn't give you that feeling where is the engine exactly. Oh, it's very clear. Spark plugs are right there. Things are decent in that department, but some of the quality of the stuff could be better. Let's put it this way. Let's take a look underneath the 2025 Ford Expedition. Starting with the front with the, it's wide open. So I have a feeling, because I'm looking at this. Like, do you see this? It almost feels like there was supposed to be a cover here, but they fell off, or this particular one doesn't have it. This is too wide open. I mean, you can see the entire engine, you see how much space you actually have. Almost like this car was designed with a V8 and then they changed their mind. And then my small stuff. What's up with this? So this is the intercooler. If you turn around and see it, it's right here. Here's that intercooler. Twin turbo, so you have two two pipes going in and then one pipe going in, which is going to go to the throttle body. Very simple, but I feel like it's way open, too open. Here, I mean, this is what I just. I mean, they gave you a metal shield-ish. It's actually a pretty nice metal sheet, but the rest, not a metal, just a little felt. And if you look right here, this is your steering motor, because this has electric power steering. I mean, I like the shield. They at least gave you that, but yeah. Let's look at the front suspension here. Dual piston caliper, massive brakes. These are, of course, huge 22-inch wheels. That's why the brakes look small, but they're actually massive. Aluminum knuckle with a press-on bearing. It's going to be a problem in the future. Giant steel control arm with the ball joint that is part of it. Another control arm that is also steel with the ball joint part of it. Now these sway bars, you see these blue things? This is a plastic internal sway bar, so not one that's going to last a long time. Does have a coil spring in the front. This doesn't have air suspension. That are adjustable. You see the actuator right here? That's actually really nice. Moving away from that to the transmission. This transmission is just, every time I see it, I just can't help but think, wow, we never thought this was going to happen. This is that collaboration transmission between GM and Ford. It's 10-speed transmission. Very interesting transmission, because where's my drain plug? I mean, we were taking that sealed transmission to the next level, aren't we? Where is the drain plug? I mean, I tried to peel these and look. No, there is no drain plug. That's just, they named it. It'll never break down, never have to do anything. Yeah, that's not the case. Sway bar is right here. I like that they are finally studs here. I usually put bolts and they never come out and they break, but stud I can work with. The oil pan is aluminum. See it right here. And the drain plug's right here. It's a pretty interesting spot for it. I like that the starter is pretty accessible. I love that. It's right there. Can't everybody do it like that? Then the exhaust. So it's a dual exhaust. I don't understand. I'm seeing this a lot in newer cars. 90-degree turn and another almost 90-degree turn. Quality of the exhaust, I feel like this part is okay. And then as the further we go back, it just goes downhill. This is, of course, body on frame truck. Pretty nice, big, tall frame, and that is really cool. If you turn around though, I love this. What's the purpose of this? I mean, this is just a piece of metal, I'm guessing to protect the paint from burning from the catalytic converter. That's interesting. Charcoal canister is right here. It's kind of, usually they don't put it this forward in the car, but it is right here. This, of course, is an all-wheel drive model. So here's that transfer case. And then, yeah, they don't paint their drive shafts. That's just how they do things. They already look like that. And then my favorite, this is stuff I don't understand. So this hanger, it welds right here, perfectly fine. I don't know what's the deal with this. We have this laying around and it's just welded and move on with our life. I guess that's what it is. Fuel tanks right here with a favorite thing. I don't exactly know what this is. Assuming something with assembly, there's another one here. Assuming something with assembly, this is how they, something that the jig that held it to put it up. There's absolutely nothing else. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Then we get to the back. Massive rear end. I mean, massive rear end. Of course, you expect it. Here, there's some afterthoughts here. First one is the axle goes through the frame. I haven't seen that before. It's pretty interesting. And then if you look at this, assuming this is speed sensor wire of some sort, I like how it just kind of randomly comes up and goes this way. And the best part is this sway bar. I mean, I just want you to look at this. This is a complete afterthought. There's no better afterthought. Here's what the afterthought, what I mean by, if you look here, this is not even threaded into the frame. This is just a bolt and nut. And you have this little nut to hold it. And then look at this angle with this sway bar. It's a complete afterthought. Since we're at the back suspension here, you do have an aluminum knuckle. You do have multiple steel control arms. This is actually the nice part. You do have a coil spring. It's also an adjustable shock here in the back. You do have a single piston caliper, pretty large caliper though, with integrated park and brake. And the plastic height control sensor. Don't work with that. Spare tire. It's not a full-size spare tire, but hey, it's a spare tire nonetheless. Then we pay our attention to this area right here. So wide open, and my favorite part is this little drain or vent. This is for the fuel filler neck. This is just gonna get filled up with snow and grime and everything because the tire will just blow everything up there. That's what I don't like when they leave that wide open. But something I'm surprised by, they actually did this part well. Doesn't look horrendous, the tow hitch. Because if you remove these two and pop this panel, well, there it is. Oh, look at that. I love this. Every single manufacturer, when they do this, something like this, it just looks horrible. This one, I like that it's simple to remove, and I'm about to, no, it's actually very simple. You just lean underneath it, take it out. Great. Two little plastic clips, which this one now doesn't want to go on. There it is. This is good. I like that. I really, really like that. Let's take a look at the outside of the 2025 Ford Expedition. And I gotta say one thing, the Expedition's always looked good. It just has a classy look to it. It's different. It's not like the Explorer, not like the F-150. It's always had a, I don't know how to describe it, but every time you see one, they always look classy. They looked good. This one is no exception. All redesigned for 2025. Interesting that they had every opportunity to make this grille go from here all the way to here, and they didn't. They left you a bumper. Kind of a two-layer bumper deal here. I mean, this is a giant behemoth, so there's no way not to put a giant grille on it because it's big. But I feel like they really did this part well, and I love how Expedition is written here. It just gives it a unique character. There are a few things here. I like these headlights, but now we're getting into, we've gotten over the bar taillights. Now we have bar headlights. So this running light goes from here, all the way across to the other side. So it's a bit much, but hey, I like how this thing looks. There's some little touches. First, this glass has some UV chromatic dealio, so when you put your iPass, it doesn't work behind it. You have to put it in a specific spot. And then they drew you the car here. So it's very important that we highlight that very important feature. Having said that, I like that, and I'm going to say this, and someone would look at this and be like, how is this that? Less is more. Just look at this hood design. It's a flat hood. You have one line here, one line on the other, and then just for good measure, this one. That's it. Look at the side of this giant behemoth. This is the easiest car to get wrong design-wise if you get carried away. They did not. There's a little indentation here for the flare arch. Not even like piano black and whatever. No. Same thing in the back. And then there's one giant line that starts here and it's all the way the end of the car. How more simple can it be? But just look at it. This is how a proper giant behemoth should look like. You don't need to overstyle it because it's a giant box and that's what you want. Let's look at the details here. Big mirrors. I really like these mirrors. I like that I'm starting to see this a lot in the automotive industry. The hood line is higher than the belt line, which means bigger windows, higher front for more space. It's pretty cool. Doors here, surprisingly, in this segment you usually don't see this. Lock, unlock from the handle in the front and the back. All four of them are like that. This is something I love. I mean, you look at this, it just has a piano black panel in the bottom. Well, that's actually not a panel. It's an automatic step. Oh, if it wants to stay out. I like how when you close it and it disappears, it like almost forms part of the body. It's not something that just tucks underneath, and when you look at it from far away, you see it hanging down. I like that, really like that. Love this window. Look how big this is. Look how much visibility. If this is a giant car, you want as much visibility as possible. Look how big this is. They didn't make some sweeping design here to close it up. No, it's wide open. That's exactly what we want. Let's look at the back here. This is where, small, couple problems, nothing major. Folks, this is a big car. This is how I feel what happened with this car. It's a big car. They designed the whole thing. They painted it. Then they got here. They ran out of two things. First, they ran out of lights, and then they ran out of paint. What exactly is this? I'm trying to understand, why is this one black? It looks horrendous, feels like incomplete. And then this, on top of it is, what exactly is this piece? If this did not exist, 110% of Expedition owners would not care. And the better yet is, why is this not a bar taillight that goes all the way across? Why don't we just get a little strip here and there in this unpainted part? I have no idea why. It just looks horrendous. Looks like we ran out of paint. That's what that tells me. The badging, though, they got that right. Expedition, Ford logo. Love that it's this dark color logo. The trim, platinum. That's all you need to know. But there's so much here. Let's talk about it. First, the wipers tucked away. I love how this looks. Then we open the back. This is the surprise. This is a split door. There's good and bad about it. Let's open this one. This one's power as well. The good thing is, now you have a place to sit down. If you're taking it for a trip or whatnot. At least from what I found, this has a 500-pound weight limit. Doesn't feel like it. Every time you sit, actually get close to that, say thank you for these, because this is actually what's holding the door right now from collapsing. The bad part is, in your everyday use, you put something, like I say, you fold the seats, you put something, well, now you have this thing in the way. You have to really reach in to get something. There's good and bad and everything, but I really like this because this is actually functional if you're taking it for trips. You can sit down here, have another bench to sit down. This is pretty cool. And then there's a lot more here. First, I love these lights. But the cool thing is they give you a button to shut them off. So if you're going to sit back here, you can just shut them off so they're not blaring. But that's not all. You can change the direction of these lights so you can point them where you want to. For example, if you're sitting here, you don't want them blaring in your eye, you can just do this, and now they're lighting in front of you, but not at you. It's actually pretty cool. It's the little stuff, folks. And another cool feature is you have these controls for the second or third row seat. So these are third row, these are second row. You can fold both of them, or you can fold individually. So if we press this, the third row seat folds down. It's power. It's, I hope you're not in a hurry. Does take its time, but eventually you have space, except that is interesting. And they have a little hump in the way. We can live with that. Then the second row seat, they only fold down. And now look at that. That's a lot of space. We're not complaining about space here. This hump is interesting, but we can live with that. But there's actually more. So if you look here, so initially it looks like, wow, just tiny little storage and a very interesting Velcro. This is where your jack is. But then you have this thing, which just fell down on its own. I could have secured this a little better. This is a shelf that you can actually, if we get the legs out, and then pull these down. It's for a good measure. Pull. The third row is now just disabled because the key's off. We can actually now you have a shelf to store your stuff. Say you want 2 layers of stuff, you don't want them on top of each other. That's actually a pretty cool idea, a usable one, because when you don't need the shelf, you just want an open space, you actually have a place to stow away your shelf. Which now is no longer in your way. I really like that. Now, there are a couple of small stuff. To close this, you have to push this button. It's kind of an odd location here. And then this one does have lock, close the back door or close and lock the doors, which is pretty cool. There's the last thing on this car. Let's walk around here. So for the longest time, Ford have had buttons here. This one keeps the same thing but takes it to the 21st century. Now they are touch capacitive. It's Pretty cool. Let's take a look at the interior of the 2025 Ford Expedition. And here I have some mixed feelings. So this interior does things to the fullest, if you would. It's either does things very good or very bad. No half measures. Let's start with the good stuff. This is such a comfortable interior that just feels right. This is the best way to describe it. It just feels right. It's comfortable seats. Everything works very well. It is quiet. It is very refined ride, and it is super functional. I mean, this is the ultimate family mobile. Let's put it this way. Let's start with a few things. Aesthetically, it looks very pleasing. I mean, this design that they have here is a very brave design, I gotta say it. It has this little kind of platform in the background. It kind of reminds me of a certain Lincoln. You do have the gauges, this giant screen that spreads almost halfway, and you do have a map permanently displayed. It's very customizable. If you're going to do a gauge screen, this is how you do it. That's it properly done. Now, the infotainment, you still have an infotainment screen. It kind of feels out of place a little bit with that big screen behind it, but I get it because this is a touch screen. If you put it there, I can't touch screen that anymore. It becomes very far away. But looks-wise, this just looks very striking, and it's very nice looking. And there's the gimmicks. Let's start with the little stuff. First, the gimmicks that are not actually bad. The center console, huge center console, huge space here, a lot of storage space here. But then you got this feature. You can do this. We can do this all day long because this is very cool. However, when the center console is back, and it's not just like that for gimmicks, you have this giant hidden storage here. So you can put your valuables here, you close it, nobody even knows they're there. That's actually a pretty cool feature. Second gimmick, the shifter has this little rotary dial. Really, it's like a rotary dial. But the biggest problem is, I'm 5'7", this is my driving position. That's not an easy to access. I mean, you have to stretch to get it. Kind of interesting when you have, especially when you have this giant space. Then the HVAC controls, they're all on the screen. And something is to be said about the infotainment screen. It's actually pretty responsive, but pretty featureful. Does work very good. I didn't glitch once for us here, so I can understand that. All the HVAC controls are there. Some controls are here, like your volume, whatnot, but HVAC control, everything is there. Then we get to the what I call the super gimmicks. I mean, this is when we go to the next level. The steering wheel. Gotta talk about the steering wheel. I don't know what happened here. First, this brave design that looks wonderful comes with one small problem. Because you have this platform that kind of angles down, you can't put the screen very high, higher than what it already is, and then it blocks your visibility. So, in its current position, the steering wheel will block half the screen, literally. So here is problem number one. They decided to, let's just cut the top of the steering wheel and cut the bottom, make it this strange shape. And that'll do. Well, you still cover part of the screen, but just in that particular part of the screen, they decided to put nothing. So that's just that dead space. Could be worse, but that's not the end of the planet. We can live with a weird steering wheel. Well, it doesn't end there. The controls of the steering wheel. I seriously don't understand what's the point of them. So there's absolutely no labels here except the button to control your steering wheel, up, down, telescope, and then your pedals movement. But you have to use the controls to control that. What was wrong with a little switch on the side? I don't know. That's not a big deal though. But what is, all your radio controls and like your cruise control, they're not labeled. When you put your hand here, it appears on the screen, but then there's not like 6 menus you can cycle through or you can do multiple features. No, that's all they do. So why don't we just take the stuff that appear on the screen, just put them here? I don't know. The only thing that this does that is not the same as your any other car that has regular buttons that are labeled is the steering wheel control and the pedal control. What can we have all this space. Couldn't we have put it there? We already have physical buttons. Just put it somewhere else and bypass this entire thing. It is just not a good idea. And the combination of that with this odd shaped steering wheel, it's the next level of why. That's all I'm gonna say. But other than this super annoying steering wheel, this is a very nice interior. I mean, Ford knows how to make an interior that is very comfortable and very usable, and this is exactly what this is. Let's talk about the second row seat here. I'm 5'7", this is my driving position. I mean, this is like what a limo in my mind sounds like. This is super comfortable. A lot of space everywhere. In every direction, you have a lot of space. Super comfortable seat. You have some amenities here. You do have a private climate control zone, which is pretty cool. You do have a power outlet. You have USB-C in the seat, which is actually pretty cool. You do have double storage here, and I like that the seat's completely wrapped with leather. The only thing I am seeing that is missing, where is my shade? That would be nice. I suppose the windows are tinted, but so is all the other SUVs that do have the shape. Then over here you do have a iPad stand, or like a tablet stand for your kiddos. I suppose they couldn't put a screen here because you have this giant panel sunroof, so they gave you an iPad stand. How about that? Let's take a look at the third row seat in the 25 Expedition. I mean, there are some cars that the first and second row seats are not this comfortable and this much space. Yeah, this is why you buy a car like this. You can comfortably sit 3 adults here and they will not complain, because this is a pretty comfortable third row seat and it's proper. Now the headroom does get a little bit tighter, but again, this is as good as you're gonna get with cars with third row seats. You can kind of move the backrest as you need to. You have some USB-C here. It's a pretty comfortable place. This is why you would buy something like this over an Explorer. This has a proper third row seat that you can actually sit adults in. So the 2025 Ford Expedition, folks, this is a very impressive SUV. I just the truth have to be said. Even with all the little gimmicks that it has that are annoying, but this promises to be a large family SUV. And in that department, it delivers so well. It is very functional. It's good looking. It has a lot of features that are actually useful. Yeah, some gimmicks, but most of them are actually useful features. And it is comfortable. It rides very nice. It is the perfect size. The engine is very powerful and very smooth. This starts at around $62,000, and that's a lot of money. But this is also a lot of car. Here's the best part though. At that price, you don't lose everything. I mean, you lose some of the nice materials and whatnot, but all the core features are there. Now, you option it out, you can get close to $90,000 with options, but what I like about it is the base model is not really some stripped out model that has none of the good stuff. No, it has most of the good stuff, minus some of the gimmicks, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, this is not a long-term car. You're not going to keep this for 15, 20 years and not have to do anything to it. That's not its intended purpose. But for the time that you have it, it's a very pleasant car to look at. The inside is very nice, even with the gimmicks. It's a very comfortable, very smooth, very refined ride. I mean, this feels out of class. That's all I'll tell you. And for $62,000, it almost starts to sound like a bargain. Folks, this is a giant people hauler, and it does that very nice. Folks, I hope this video was helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of my other videos. Until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.